I'm going to carry this around with me. I did something not too bright yesterday. I went out and raked up some old dead leaves without a mask. So my voice is a little strange. But it's been a strange week. It's been kind of like a weird journey. Father Tim asked me to do the services this week and next week. He's out of town. Well, Father Tim left. Michelle went to camp. Deacon Chuck went to camp, and it was only Monday that I realized that nobody had told me which lessons we were using today. You see, we had a number of choices. We could celebrate the 4th of July and use those lessons today. We had a choice of 2 lessons for the Old Testament lesson this morning, and I didn't know what I was preaching on until Friday when Michelle and Chuck came back. So, it was a bit of a journey. And journeys are kind of what I want to talk to you about today anyway. Are you ready for a journey? Yes. Okay, here's the idea. Don't worry about packing anything you don't need to. Don't worry about making reservations on the plane. You don't need to do that. You don't need to know when your ship is going to leave if you're cruising. Leave your wallet at home. You don't need your credit cards. You don't need cash. You don't need anything. Just show up, and we'll go on a journey. Does that sound like fun to you? That's what Jesus was doing in the gospel for today. He's sending these 70 people out on a journey. And he says, don't take a purse, you won't need it. Don't take shoes, an extra pair of shoes. You know, you're not going to need them. Don't take a walking stick. You don't need that. You don't need any of that stuff that you usually take when you go on a journey. You don't need food. You don't need water. You don't need anything. Just go. I remember several years ago, 20-some years ago, a group of us, 2 clergy and 2 lay people, went on a trip to Guadalajara, Mexico. We were going down as representatives of the Diocese of Arizona to their diocesan convention. We were new partners, the 2 dioceses, only that one didn't work out so well. Now we've got a much healthier one, I think. But we went down and we said, okay, the diocese arranged for the plane trip. The Bishop of Western Mexico said, we will put you up in a nice hotel. And we said, you know, we'd rather stay with parishioners, people who live in the parish where the convention is going to be held. If that can be arranged, we'd rather do that than go to a hotel. Okay, we can do that. My fellow priest and I were housed in a 1-bedroom home with a living area, a kitchen, a bathroom area with a shower and a drain in the floor. There was no curtain. There was no door, and there was a window into the backyard right beside the shower. We stayed there for all of our time. It was an amazing experience. It was wonderful. Our host said, "You sleep in the bed." And we said, "Oh, heavens no, that's your bed. You sleep in your bed, we'll sleep on the floor." No, no, no. No, 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 no. You get the bed. You're our guests. So we got the bed. Their youngest daughter slept on the couch. The husband and wife slept on the floor. And the eldest daughter and her baby slept in a hut that was built on top of the roof with access by ladder from the backyard. We ate their food. We drank their drink. We lived with them throughout that convention time. And it was wonderful. We had taken gifts to them for being hosts. They gave us gifts for being guests. You see, when you follow that pattern that Jesus set out, amazing things can happen. The guy we stayed with was a Ford mechanic in Guadalajara, Mexico. He earned less in a year than I earned in a month. It was incredible. Paul reminds us that pride is a wonderful thing if you've got something to be proud of. Pride is determined by what you do with what you have. And the Old Testament lesson teaches us to rejoice. To rejoice in the peace of Jerusalem, which right now knows no peace at all. Neither does anything in the Middle East. And yet there is that hope of peace at the end of a journey. Journeys are wonderful ways in which we get to know our God. Whether you know it or not, you're on a journey. It's a journey that started a long time ago, back before 1776. It's a journey that leaves us with a question of pride. You see, we determined that we were going to be free and that everyone was going to be free and everyone was going to vote and everyone was going to have all of those wonderful things that made up a new nation. That is, if you were wealthy enough to own land, you were of European descent, mostly English, and you had enough to pay taxes. Otherwise, that freedom wasn't yours. It was just theirs. They fought with a ragtag army against the strongest and mightiest army on the earth, the British Army. And they won. And do you know what they did? They realized that they didn't have the stuff with which to win. That it was God who gave them that ability to be free. And the journey began. And the journey was not an easy one because it had to be ended. Not then, not in the middle, not now. It must continue. You see, that journey that started with freed, wealthy, white men did not allow for anyone else in that freedom. And so it took years and years before that freedom could spread, before that freedom could incorporate every human being in this land. And that journey is still underway. Because we cannot stand by to watch that freedom go away. We must always remember that we have no pride in anything except the way we treat one another. When we make sure that that freedom exists for all of the people of this land and for all the people of the world, until we realize that that is the end of our journey, we will always be on a journey together. And it will always be judged by the way we deal with one another, and especially those who are weakest. For those who are most oppressed and persecuted, for those who are divided from everything else, we must journey with them to their freedom, and their hope, and their joy. And then we, too, can rejoice as the prophet Isaiah called us to rejoice. For then we will be fed with the milk of God's love and kindness in our hearts and in the heart of every human being in the world. Dear brothers, we're on a journey. And we have nothing. We're taking nothing with us except the love of God and the desire to do good. And in that journey, we will succeed with God. Amen.